Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 38th session of Gurubodha with Dr. M.B. Gururaja sir. So, coming to the topic of the day. So, this was not in the agenda, but somehow it came in the news and suddenly everybody is talking about it. The source is from NDTV and it's also there in many other pieces also. There is a public interest litigation or somebody from common people or an organization can put a case in the court of law in India seeking to ban something or seeking to improve something. So based on the larger interest of public. So that is called as PIL or public interest litigation. So one such public interest litigation has been filed in the court seeking some amount of restriction that in the Wikipedia page of Ayurveda, so many negative comments about Ayurveda, and so it should be banned. The petitioner is Ayurvedic Medicine Manufacturers Organization of India, AIMMOI, is an association registered under the Travancore Cochin Literary, Scientific and Charitable Societies Act 1955. And they find remedies to the common problems of manufacturers of Ayurvedic medicines. And the association was registered in Kerala. So they have filed this. And going through this is from the Wikipedia page of Ayurveda. And right away, it starts with like Ayurveda is an alternative medical science, medicine system with historical roots to Indian subcontinent. The theory and practice of Ayurveda is pseudo-scientific. Indian Medical Association describes Ayurveda as quacks. And this is how they are regarded by many medical practitioners. Ayurveda is heavily practiced in India and Nepal, and it goes on and on. There is no good evidence that Ayurveda is effective to treat or cure cancer. Some Ayurveda preparations have been found to contain lead, mercury, and arsenic. And these substances are known to be harmful to humans. 2008 study found that 21% of US Indian manufactured patent Ayurvedic medicines are sold through internet. So it goes on and on and on. And public health implications of such metallic contaminants in India are unknown. And then again, pseudoscientific word is used to describe Ayurveda, and laboratory experiments suggest that some herbs or substance might be useful, some might not be useful, and it is criticized. Quality of research in Ayurveda has been criticized. It goes on and on and on. Before I hand over the platform to Dr. Guraj, I just want to explain how this Wikipedia works. It is a public platform in which anybody can basically write anything. Whoever writes, if they have a backing link or a backing reference to their claims, they can edit it. So I have certain, regarding Ayurveda, let's say. So I am an Ayurveda doctor, so I will put some web references, maybe from authentic research articles or from other web sources, etc. So I can go and sit and edit Wikipedia articles so that Ayurveda things are explained in a good manner because I'm a pro Ayurveda person. Whereas there are several websites other than Wikipedia where these news pieces come. So there are several enemies to the Ayurvedic medical science. Sometimes Indian Medical Association comes against it, or some other person might have written an individual article based on his own opinion. So if I want to, if somebody X who wants to derogate Ayurveda, he can put those references and go and edit the Wikipedia page to include negative things about Ayurveda. So this can be done on any organization, any person, etc. So if I have a few reference websites stating something like X thing is bad, and I can go to that X thing in Wikipedia and edit, and this is kind of a war. Like there is pro Ayurveda people and against Ayurveda people. So I may go and edit today, and tomorrow somebody else will come and sit, and there will be usually a group of people. They will come and sit, and they will edit the page, and they will delete all our references, and they will put their own references. So whoever has free time and whoever has money backing and whoever is running an agenda and propaganda, they basically win. So, and Wikipedia pages usually come up in the Google search. Suppose I search for Ayurveda or any matter, usually Wikipedia comes first because it is Google believes that it is not only just statements, it has references. So because it comes with references written by many people, large group of people, probably it is authentic. That's why Wikipedia page comes up. So when I go to the Ayurveda page, apart from these, some Ayurveda doctors have written about Ashtanga Ayurveda and all. So usually Wikipedia pages are very long. So Google in its mind thinks that, because it is long and elaborate and with lot of references, everything included, it is good. So my suggestion to fellow Ayurveda doctors is not to consider Wikipedia as be all and end all. Yeah, with respect to Hinduism, there is a lot of anti-Hinduism practices, propaganda pages in Wikipedia, etc. And it's funding and how it works, who edits, so who is funding all those things. There are a lot of controversies. So my personal suggestion is not to give any weightage to these Wikipedia pages at all. So if you have good things to tell about Ayurveda, and if you want to promote Ayurveda, make your own videos, write your own articles in other blogs or websites, and do your best to promote Ayurveda and do not give much weightage. Good evening, Guraj sir. Can you please put a few thoughts on this, please?
First of all, Wikipedia and such information, it's only for the sake of information. When they don't have a control over the information what they are provided, anybody can alter it. And of course, there will be a strong lobby. You observe whenever there is a population trend favors towards Ayurveda or the natural system of medicines, definitely these backed by the chemical medicines or allopathic things, the pharma companies or stakeholders, they will come in a disguise and they start doing all these type of nonsenses. And we previously also there was a lot of some letter writing or something like that, or even reporting to the website regarding this because they have mentioned unnecessary things in the name of Ayurveda, and they made as a wrong claims. This needs to be corrected, but nobody is there to take care of certain things. So now the somebody maybe by irritation got these information regularly being re-uploaded, and it is going on making a derogatory statements and even defaming the Ayurveda. So they thought that it is the right time to block them legally. So they went for a public interest litigation. First of all, one should understand that you cannot call Ayurveda a pseudoscience, because any pseudoscience can't be given a valid degree from an approved universities, and there will not be any ministry to control over it, and there will not be any institutions which are affiliated to universities, and they are controlled by an apex body. Previously, it was CCIM. Now it is National Council for Scientific Council for Indian System of Medicine. So there are so many guidelines and everything, and it is valid when such a type of a huge network of affiliation, appreciation, and recognition for a system exists in a country like India, where such a large population is there, and more than 300 Ayurveda colleges are functioning across India, providing a lot of education regarding Ayurveda and its utility. The people are coming and studying Ayurveda. So when these things, and if there is a affiliating body and there is a registration body, when those who complete the degree, they will register before practicing. So many things are there. When such type of legally acceptable things are there, you cannot say it's a pseudoscience. There is no basis or there is no evidence. We can quote n number of evidences and suggestions and even appreciation by the common man as a testimonial for Ayurveda. And one of the important and the basic testimonial is Ayurveda is regarded as a science of old age. It's existing since so many thousands of years. On the onslaught of all these, the Western medicine or the so-called scientific medicine or advanced medicine, even in the era of that, it is thriving. Ayurveda is still existing. People are using it, people are practicing it. So, it very nature of this information or very nature of this is shows that Ayurveda is having some stuff in it, and that's why people are accepting it. Until unless, see, you can go for any advertisement, any sort of things and propaganda and all these things to push a product. People are crazy maybe in the beginning, they will go for purchase in the beginning, but If they didn't find any result or any convincing or positive or conducive information or even effect on the body, next time they don't purchase. So when the things are continuously being utilized and its market is increasing, huge scope for even people are saying that it is runs in billions now, billions of dollars. This market is expanding in such a way. Definitely, there are counter fellow persons, those who get affected because of this growth and development. So they try to put these things in the web, as well as you can observe that during any time a sudden spurge or growth of Ayurveda is there, or acceptance has increased, suddenly there will be one article or something like that in which is comes out in the public domain, maybe in the newspaper or print media or even in the TV channels or something like that, blaming the Ayurveda. So this is a very common practice, and we should not much worry about this. But somebody has to curtail these practices. That's why they went for an PIL, and let's see what happens.
Yes, sir. And like you said regarding the formal lobby, probably we can talk like hours on end regarding this. Like in coronavirus, also when the virus broke out in the February, March of 2020, Ayurvedic practitioners like I was trying to write an article. We were discussing to do an Ayurveda class and all, but I was so scared and I was very forced to take a lot of precautions because Ayurveda people writing anything related to coronavirus was challenged by allopathic segment, and you are not supposed to talk about it. You cannot even analyze regarding the coronavirus with dosha, dhatu, etc. So there were a lot of disclaimers and a lot of precautions to be taken. So what is coronavirus related? Truth, myth. There was a huge thing. Then it came vaccine. So talking against vaccine was totally banned on the internet. If you talked about against vaccine or talking anything about side effects related to vaccine may work, may not work. If you just talked about it, anything against, even in a slight bit, you'll be banned in YouTube, you'll be banned in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all places basically. And then now recently, Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been taken back by the FDA itself because it causes clots. The websites or the whole web world, which is supposed to be an open platform for everybody to put their ideas in open and share their experiences, and it should be a platform where the truth naturally comes out because it is the most transparent and it is the most strongest thing where it should happen. There are a lot of lobbies against truth, sir.
See, there are a lot of lobby, but they got sufficient funding, backup, financial funding for that purposes. And they try to explain as it is something like that. See, when India was having such a culture and nature-friendly practices, when Britishers or the fellow friends from the Europe and they came to India, they start posing in such a way that what and all we are doing, all are somewhat outdated, and it is not scientific. They convinced us in such a manner that we are doing wrong, and generation to generation they think that we are wrong. Now the things are changing. It may be for organic farming, or it may be for any toothpaste, it may be for even food practices. So many things you just observe. Everything first they rejected ghee just to sell hydrogenated fat, and they just simply blamed Ayurveda and herbs just to push the chemical drugs. So there are so many such type of lobbies who are there, and we accept it very boldly. Because of this acceptance, many generation now they feel convinced and confused whether to accept or not to accept herbal. Even today, some people in India they say that human beings went to Mars and Moon, or you are still using some herbs. Where are you? Use some good techniques, scientific data, all those things they speak. When they come to argue, let them come in a level playing field. What they are claiming to be as harmful, whether they know how our drug works or how our drugs prepared, how they are behaved, they don't know. Simply they are blaming. For example, any mercury containing or lead containing or arsenic containing drug, they will take it and they'll say it contains heavy metals. Who said that it doesn't contain heavy metals? Because those heavy metals are the ingredients in the manufacture of the drug. But my question is whether the drug what is being manufactured, are you able to design a test which can identify what type of mercury present in that, what type of lead present in that, what type of arsenic present in that, whether that compound is harmful to the body or whether it is causing an accumulation in the body, all these things to be noted. Of course, where any manufacturer bypasses the techniques and the adamant rules and the stringent methods of manufacturing, then they may cause problem. That is also truth. That is Ayurveda very clearly has said. You have to follow the process of Shodhana, Marana and Basmikarana, Amritikarana and all those things in a very stringent manner. That needs to be carried out with the same respect and spirit. If it is not done, then there may be chances of damage. Otherwise, these drugs containing the heavy metal, what so called as heavy metal, doesn't cause any deposition or any harmful effect on the body. That is the reason, because it is being subjected for various processes till it reaches as a medicine. Without knowing these things, they simply blame by making one test, identifying mercury in serum, lead in serum, or arsenic in serum, then they start selling it. But fact is, different part of the world, the drinking water itself is more contaminated, containing more particles per million. These contaminated material, which is even not Shodhita, it is not subjected for Marana. Straight away the raw material. And Ayurveda very strictly and very straightforward said, Parada, Naga and these things are poisonous. But how we make them as a non-poisonous, that is the beauty of Ayurveda. That needs to be recognized by the scientific world, so-called scientific world. And they will expect that the theories and postulates of Ayurveda should be studied and understand and evaluated on the tools of modern medicine. No, it cannot be. We need to design certain tools which are suitable to identify the techniques of Ayurveda and the method of understanding the Ayurvedic drugs and their phenomena and their activities. So we need to learn a lot of things. Unnecessarily, there will be blame game, and it is existing and it's happening since so many decades. It's not right, not a new one, but people are understanding it, and now it is definitely there will be changes in future as people are very open now and they are very rational thinking. They try to understand even the lobbies, their business interest and everything.
Yes, and one good thing that has happened because of the internet penetration entering deep into the rural parts of India and the world as a whole is that people can see it, and I mean all these lobbies, all this negative propaganda was there, is there, and will be there probably. So what's the solution? So I looked into the legalization of marijuana in the US. Marijuana was strongly prohibited. People were put into jail just for possessing a few grams of marijuana, and there was big blockage on it. But in Ayurveda, bhanga is explained as good in psychiatry, depression, in sleeping, useful in sleep-related disorders such as insomnia, and it's also good anti-inflammatory and all. But suddenly, recently, many states in the US has legalized marijuana. This change in the perception regarding the benefits of marijuana did not come from the medical field. So medical and pharma field were always against it. So it came as a public movement, meaning that many military personnel who were injured, who were having this post-traumatic stress disorder, so they started using it and they started sharing their benefits that they got from marijuana and CBD oil and whatnot. And also sports persons started using it because these were celebrities and all. And high profile people, they started talking about it. Then the government sort of gave in to the public pressure and they started legalizing. So probably a public movement of Ayurveda community people, including the doctors, sharing their experiences, believing them, and helping other people to get into the Ayurveda fold is the way forward. So.
And definitely this marijuana oil, that is CBD oil, also now in India, even though it is banned, some online platforms are selling it. And even till today in India, different part of the various states having a bang because is technically a wrong one and legally and you are will be behind the bars if you possess this. So this thing it's still it is there. But one of the important drug activity of that, it is one of the important painkiller and a very strong painkiller, and it is particularly in the cancer related pains. Now it has been shown convincing results. So the things may change in future. Even try to regulate it instead of totally banning it. They may try to regulate it.
Yes, yes, sir. And probably we'll have a class with you, sir, for buying in total. Coming to the last point in this Wikipedia, whoever edits the most and whoever has free time, either he has free time because he's jobless or somebody is funding so that he's editing, wins. When just to give a funny example, Google appointed Sundar Pichai as its CEO suddenly. So he's a very talented guy. Joined the Google as engineer, then worked his way through the corporate ladder, and finally became the CEO. So as soon as he became CEO, I think he studied in Chennai. So as soon as he became CEO, these schools in which he had studied or he has not studied, these Indian schools, they started a Wikipedia war. There were around, I'm not sure about the number of edits, there were like 150 to 200 edits in a matter of few hours that he belongs to our school and somebody is saying that they belong to that school. So my advice to general public would be to not give too much weightage, because anybody can write anything and whoever has free time and does more edits would win.
Definitely, there is no meaning in doing it, but legally blocking it is also an important technique, and I think putting in a PIL is the right way, and people are doing it. Hope we will see the things it is rectified, at least deleted certain things.
PIL in legal way is the way to moderate the contents in the web. So if something is very offensive, rather than writing to those platforms and asking them to review, they will be having a reviewing committee which itself can be biased. So they, suppose something is on Facebook and I feel it offensive, I may challenge it, but the people who are reviewing my challenge would be biased in certain way, so they will not accept my challenge of edit. So probably the legal way is good. And so coming to the next topic, there's another news piece coming in. Participation of doctors in issues of communal disharmony clearly amounts to professional misconduct, says a circular issued by Karnataka Medical Association. So, and Karnataka Medical Association has warned all medical practitioners in the state to refrain from issues pertaining to communal disharmony. In a circular stated so and so, any violation of medical ethics by medical practitioners would be considered as professional misconduct. They will be dealt according to law, and it goes on and on and on. This again, there are a few questions regarding it. Is like, what is communal and what is non-communal, and a medical board role is probably to regulate the health part of it rather than personal opinion of personal people in social media.
Definitely. Now, not only this KMC, now even National Council for Indian System of Medicine recently has rolled out one draft regulation wherein it is related with misconduct and ethics to be followed by Ayurveda doctors, wherein he has given a lot of things, how the soliciting of patient and giving advertisements in print media or making any videos or endorsing any product or endorsing any drug or its activity or boasting about the cases or anything like that. They are simply saying, see, if somebody puts something as a success story or something like that, you cannot claim it. You cannot say it. A doctor should only go for a press conference on only a few occasions where you want to make, because once you start in practicing, when you change the address or if you change the type of practice or something like that, or you are ending the practice, then you can go for public announcement. Otherwise, you should not, or you should be refrained from all these things, even social media or even the print media. You cannot express these things. And this is a big useless ethics they are trying to put it into the practice. Similarly, there are certain occasions where unnecessary things are there. We need to curtail those things. Here, which is communal harm, disharmony or something like that, if a person speaks something about that, that means that he is not having the freedom of speech. He cannot express his personal opinions. So this is a totally an absurd way of handling the things. And unless you try to pressurize these things and suppressing things, this will bounce back.
It is about free speech. And first of all, what constitutes a statement as against the communal harmony? It's a very vague matter. If somebody says really offensive against a particular community, there is always other laws pertaining to that. Probably it is not the job of the medical council to intervene in all the things that a person does. And it is like saying that if I possess a gun, then my medical license would be cancelled. So the gun is regulated by other laws. So there are laws to regulate particular things. So I need not be regulated for anything other than medical practice with a medical board. So.
Definitely, medical board area domain of functioning is entirely different from these things. They would have asked that people please refrain from making some comments. That would have been a better thing. But they're telling that if somebody makes it, then we may strip your degree or something like that. So that is nonsense. That cannot be.
Regarding the somebody stating about their personal success story in social media, this is just as an example. Disclaimer. Suppose I treated AIDS and I put that into social media. So any post that somebody posts in social media, including WhatsApp, though it is a closed environment, or Facebook, Instagram, or in a website, if that boasts about myself or my treatment in my clinic, that can be considered as advertisement. So it is considered as an advertisement. So that is controlled or that is regulated by Drugs and Magical Remedies Act. So probably in one of the future classes we'll go through this, because everybody has access to internet and people will be posting, so that in Ayurveda community people will be aware of that. So suppose I have not treated AIDS patient, but still if I post as I have treated AIDS patient and make up some lab reports and post it, there can be a threat to the public as a last, sir, because I am trying to make a claim which I have not achieved.
See, that is an entirely different story. You have not done anything, but you are claiming it. Simply, you cannot claim. If you claim, then there is a Magical Remedies Act. Under that, prevention is there, and there are legal things that can be done. Otherwise, see what that law says: a practitioner shall not make use of his or her name as a subject of any form or manner of advertisement or publicly through any mode, either alone or in conjunction with others, which is of such a character as to invite attention to him or her or his or her professional position, skill, qualification, achievements, attainments, specialties, appointments, association, affiliation, and honors, or any such character as would ordinarily result in his or her self-aggrandizement. A practitioner shall not give to any person, whether for compensation or otherwise, any approval, recommendation, endorsement, certificate, report, or statement with respect to any drug, medicine, nostrum remedy, surgical or therapeutic article, apparatus, or appliances, or any commercial product or article with respect to any property, quality, or use of many test, demonstration, trial. There are a lot of things, the unnecessary things, they have included everything into that. And all these things are including and it will be treated as advertisement. Is it not advertisement? If in a closed group, if a doctor says that I have treated successfully these cases and he puts some document there, which gives an idea to the fellow friends or practitioners or general practitioners that in case this type of condition is there, which we cannot handle it, then we can refer that patient to that particular doctor. Whereas in modern medicine, they got their own board, they'll write neurologist, there are andrologists, or something like that, a biochemist, whatever, they can write anything. Physician, cardiologist, dermatologist. But we can't write like that because our degree is something different and our area of treatment is different and people are practicing in a different modalities. We can't restrict our practice to any particular divisions. So when such things are there, understanding the ground realities and laws should be prepared. Without understanding the ground realities, how it's functioning, simply making a law, it doesn't hold good.
Giving interviews and all those things and putting that in just all in one basket doesn't make sense at all. Probably we will have many discussions on these rounds going forward, so that because it's going to become very big. Like coming out of this COVID, everybody has learned many things about online things, and they'll be posting. So many people might be inadvertently breaking some law. So we will have some rounds of discussion regarding that in future as well. Moving to the next class. So this question was asked many times before. So could you please elaborate on why sprouts are not recommended? I mean, there are some Ayurvedic products, especially food products in the market, they say as I mean, it contains sprouts rich in protein and all, whereas there are many references in Ayurveda saying sprouts are okay for once in a while, but not on a daily basis. Can you please elaborate on this topic, sir?
See, definitely, you can observe the nature. Nowhere the sprout materials or something like that, it is consumed by other insects or even the ants or something like that. Very typically, sprouts are not good to human body. Maybe they are difficult to digest or they may cause some adverse effect onto the body. Very typically, what we are understanding is at the time of germination, it is almost just something like that giving birth. So there will be some chemicals produced in order to protect the offspring. Just like how in higher animals also, during the time of delivery and later in the early part of life, the breast milk contains a lot of immunoglobulins. Those immunoglobulins are in order to protect the immunity of the young child or the offspring. So similarly, in such a manner, while there is a germination, there may be certain chemicals released in that sprouts, which may be helping the sprout to develop as a new plant. At that time, we are trying to eat them, and this is maybe going to cause against our system, and it may even harm us. Probably because of these reasons, Acharya has very clearly said not to eat these sprouts on a regular basis or avoid it as well as possible, and they ban it as Virudadhanya. But still, people are using it just simply because during this time it will be having more rich protein, rich another amino acid or something like that. Just because certain things are rich in there, it won't get absorbed to our body. If it is only absorbed to our body, if our body has a sufficient type of agni, which are readily help in digestion of those things. So based on those observations, might have our acharyas has very clearly pointed out, don't consume the sprouts on a regular basis. That's what I can say here. Just because simply which has a rich in calcium, rich in potassium, rich in something as a nutrient, just consume it. Go on giving any number of nutrients doesn't make any sense until unless it is get easily absorbed, digested and absorbed to the body. And that process requires agni, and you require a proper agni to handle all those things.
There are 2 points in which, in your narration, that I'd like to pick up. It is like that the sprouting stage is like some new life is getting its shape, or some new thing is being born. At that time, using that looks very unethical. I mean, at least in our like Hindu customs and all. I mean, when we were children, we used to play and we used to, shoo away the ants or kill ants, etc. But we were taught by our parents that whenever these ants are carrying egg or some food material, not to kill the ants, because they are like, it is just their livelihood, or they're following the nature. So just when a new life is coming to this world, it's not so, it doesn't look very ethical, be it plants or even animal. That's why probably pregnant animals are not killed for meat.
See, totally, if you observe, Ayurveda has spoken a lot about the guna karma or qualities of various materials in this universe. You can go to any meat, they've explained its qualities, they explained the qualities of urine, they explained the qualities of milk, they explained various shukadhanyas, various shimbidhanyas, and so many things they have explained. If definitely these virudadhanyas or the sprouts are really good, whether our acharyas were not knowing about this and they will explain it, I can't accept that, because our acharyas have done a thorough examination of whatever was available in this universe, and everything they are quoted in the form of Rasaguna Virya Vipaka and its utility. In such a condition, when they say it is to be avoided, it should be avoided. Very clearly, Acharya said it should be avoided, particularly from the Shukadhanya and Shamidhanya, all those something which is in the form of sprouting nature or sprouts, that should be avoided, and that is not good for that time. Only during that sprouting time it is not good. But same Shukadhanya or Shamidhanya, it is said, asked to consume by soaking it before it sprouts, or it can be taken in without soaking it. So all these things are very clearly understood. There can, when these drugs or these dravyas should be used and when they are beneficial to us.
So and also, I mean, sprouting is a time in which like one form of energy which is stored in the seeds or grains is getting converted into the another form, and it's like that energy is in its transition stage, or nutrition is in kind of a transition stage. Whereas for the mainly for many dhanyas, it is told that most of the grains like rice, wheat, etc., they're told in Ayurveda to be consumed only when they are at least 1 year old. There is this famous sloka, Vina Vedanga Krishna Bhyam Gudadanyajya Makshikai, meaning these are the things which should not be used new. So, probably idea behind that is that nutrition, the nutrients need to kind of settle down in these grains, and only then it becomes like it will be well digested and absorbed by the body in the 1 year old grains. Whereas in the sprouts, it is just in the stage of transition from one form to the other form. Probably that's not good for health.
See, typically, if you are observed that now it is a season, the jackfruit, it's available. If you eat jackfruit, wherein inside there will be seed, and if that seed is not sprouted, then the jackfruit's taste is entirely different. And soon after rainy season, when these jackfruits are available in the market, and anytime you see that when you open the pulp, then inside there will be seed is sprouted. During that time, you observe the taste will be somewhat bad, and even sweetness also reduced. It's a very typically when something is sprouting, it naturally its rasaguna vipaka gets lowered, and which is not suitable to the body, and during that time it should not be consumed. Probably because of this reason, Acharyas very clearly they said Viruda Dhanya avoid it.
Last point on this, like I have collected a few references here and there where this Viruda Dhanya or germinated seeds are to be avoided. Gurubodha Sutsana 8th chapter, foods that should not be consumed habitually, meaning on a daily basis. Germinated grains, dried vegetables, etc. So there, germinated things are told. Charasamhita Sutasana 18th chapter, eating germinated corn when the digestion strength is weak, especially after Panchakarma, can lead to inflammatory disorders. And then there is Charasamhita Sutasana Pranakamiya chapter. This is Rasayana anti-aging therapy chapter. There, Viruda Navashuka Shami Dhanyas, germinated, sprouted cereals and pulses, can cause diseases and defects in the body. And there is Chirasasana 14th chapter, excess consumption of sprouted corns and pulses can lead to aggravation of apana vata, and it can also be a causative factor for arsha. Basically, I mean, talking about the health related effects, how it affects the body, probably Agni and Apanavata are the most which take the hit, sir.
The first thing is it's Agni, Samanavayu, then comes the Apanavata. So all these will be disturbed, and once Agni is disturbed and Vata is disturbed, it can disturb so many things in the body, because all Agni, Pitta, and even Kapha and all the dhatus, everything are under the influence of Vata for movement inside the body from one place to other. If Vata is disturbed and it starts moving in a different direction, then typically the nutrient material or whatever it is, where it is expected to reach, that area it won't reach, and it will occupy somewhere and cause a lot of problems, and obstruction to the path of Vata will leads to karmahani, then there will be leads to neuropathies, and so many complications will arise. First one will be gastrointestinal tract, and related with that that is Mahasrotas will be disturbed, and later the things will pass on that information and that contribution of those materials into further into other systems, and multiple other systems will also get afflicted with this.
Yes, sir. Yeah, probably we have answered that sprout question quite satisfactorily. Why is it advisable to soak fruits in water overnight, hours in the summer? Is it true for all fruits?
I don't think so. Not all the fruits have been asked to soak. It is only for the raisins, dry grapes, it is said, and
Yes.
for the badam or something like that, almonds. Not
Yeah.
everything is said to be soaked.
Yeah, I too have not come across this. So, okay, coming to the next question, an important query. COVID triggered an urticarial type of hives reaction in a family member. I remember referring one of my friends in Shumoga to your clinic, exactly the same. So, that lady was having allergic dermatitis and allergic rhinitis related symptoms post COVID vaccine. I inflamed, so this is COVID triggered, not vaccine triggered. So COVID triggered an urticarial type of hives reaction in a family member, inflamed widespread Ketadamsha type of raised rashes. How is this virus, which is typically causing respiratory distress, causing such a diverse reaction? What can we do in terms of medicine and diet to heal from this, sir?
See, we need to understand certain things. When in a fetus, at the time of growing, the skin and respiratory system develops from same germinal layer. So because of that, skin as well as respiratory system is just like brothers. So whenever your inflammatory condition or allergic manifestation takes place in respiratory system, soon there will be something may be triggered, or if you suppress there in this respiratory system, it may get triggered in the skin. So it's very common notion and it is very commonly seen. So and even if you observe in both the conditions, we try to give the same type of medication which will suppress the allergic reactions even in the respiratory system as well as in the skin layers. So it is very typically they are very closely they are developed, and their origin is almost similar, or moola is same. So because of that reason they behave in a similar fashion.
Regarding line of treatment or how to go about it, probably panchakarma therapy or probable medicines.
See, I would like to clarify here. Many a times the people are just fond of panchakarma, panchakarma. See, very clearly it is very said where to do panchakarma. There are only two occasions. One is seasonal cleansing, detoxification. Here, dosha becomes bahudoshatva because of the onset of or continuous dinacharya, rutucharya effect on the body throughout the season. Ultimately, in that particular season, we need to go for, even though we are healthy, these lakshanas are there, are to avoid those complications in future, anything, we go for a seasonal cleansing, detoxification. Otherwise, when a patient comes to us, very clearly we need to assess there will be bahudoshata. If there is a bahudoshata, then you can go for panchakarma or shodhana therapies. Otherwise, if it is not bahudosha and the condition or symptoms are not alarming, there is no need to go directly into shodhana procedure. You can straight away use shamana, effectively shamana treatments also. But when the person is suffering from these type of allergic reactions and causing a severe distress, then we can go for sadhyo vamana or sadhyo virechana. So in this case, if there is a lot of itching is there, then you can go for sadhyo vamana, not the traditional way of giving grutapana and all those things continuously. Then after that, going for proper vamana or virechana, not like that. It is sadhyo vamana or sadhyo virechana. That will definitely suppress the vega of itching.
And a few medicines which could be useful in this condition, please, sir.
Definitely, one of the important material which can be used for these allergic type of disorder is Kadrarista. And if you suspect there is an involvement of Krimi, then there is a Vidangarista. Then, along with that, you can go with Brihadharidra Kanda. These drugs will definitely give sufficient relief in itching and allergic manifestations. Particularly, Kadira and Asana, Kadira. These are very important drugs.
Yeah, I mean, when you posted a WhatsApp group regarding a successfully treated psoriasis patient, it's very difficult for people to believe that such a tremendous results can be done achieved only through oral medicines. And somebody asked whether Virechana was done, and you said no, or any Panchakarma was done, you said no. And at least somebody asked, like, at least did you do Deepana Pachana? I mean, probably the greatest lesson that I learned from you is that just with Shamana Ausadis or the palliative medicines, if you pick the right ones, they can be the biggest weapons as well. So,
Definitely. See, in my cases, what I usually do is stick on to certain specific drugs and very strict diet control. If you don't advise the diet control, you will not get the result, particularly in skin conditions as well as in asthma type related or allergies or even diabetes or even liver disorders. In these conditions, if you don't prescribe a very stringent diet pattern, definitely they will be simply eating whatever they get it, and ultimately they said, I didn't get relief. If you want to have a relief and the best results, then make them to follow a very typical diet pattern, avoid all those unwanted things, and then proper drug selection to based on his body weight, is vegetarian or non-vegetarian, and it is agni and everything. What we try to analyze during when we take a history taking from the patient, these things can be analyzed, and accordingly we can go for a treatment and selection of drugs.
and there is this question that one of the recent studies have revealed that chances of heart attack and coronary diseases have gone high by 15% in the people who have taken COVID vaccine. Not all vaccines, but Johnson and Johnson's vaccine has been withheld by the Food and Drug Administration because of they can probably cause clots. Is there a way to nullify the adverse effects of vaccines?
See, when initially there was no vaccine in India, people were asking, and even including Supreme Court asked, where is the vaccine? When opposition asked a lot about this vaccine. When vaccine came, people didn't came forward to get the vaccinated. But when the second wave, when it caused a severe damage, then everybody rushed for vaccination. Of course, these vaccinations, corona vaccinations, are RNA based vaccinations, and these vaccines are produced comparatively a very short duration across the globe. It may be any country. They not followed the stringent protocol, what should be followed, because it is an emergency condition. So on emergency basis, this is allowed to use. And definitely when these things are, even though a lot of precautions are taken, still there will be some sort of side effects will be there. And moreover, there are typically human nature, and not all the humans are same. There are typically certain people having a typical allergic manifestation or personal sensitivity to any of the content of the vaccine. That may be the reason for these type of things. There are a lot of observations done regarding the Pfizer, Moderna, and these type of vaccines, and they have come out with a lot of observations that they caused, and entire America used these vaccines. So they took out a study and post-marketing studies and surveys. Now they are realizing there is an increased trend of blood clots. And even recently, I heard that Moderna's and as an effect of on COVID is also very kept very low by the WHO. Previously, they were telling that they are very efficacious and all those things, but now they are telling that their efficacy on corona is less than 20%. So it is a big shocking news. So there are certain issues associated with. So based on that, they are now claiming that it is causing the microclots and things in the vessels, and leading to paralysis and so many other complications and diabetic complications and kidney complications. That's why we are withdrawing the vaccine for a time being. So this is a process which we have defined ourselves in the Drugs and Cosmetic Acts and various FDA Acts and all those things. So let it be. It's a other part of thing. But if any person who has taken vaccination suspect that there may be some clots or something like that, definitely you can go for two important things. One is very typically Pramati Dravyas, Maricha and Vacha. Second thing is Amla Raso Hrudyana. Amla Rasa will avoid formation of clots. So you go for any amla rasa, it may be jambira rasa, mix it with water, or even we call oranges, lemon juice, or even sweet lemon, or even pomegranate, something like these they are materials on a daily basis. If you consume in a minimum quantities, then definitely it will going to help in avoiding the clot formation. That can be done.
And there's a question on how to deal with nasal congestion and nasal congestion due to acute cold. Largely kapha and vata based medicines, sitapaladi chuna, etc. are there. And there's another question, sir. Detox waters are mostly used by people for weight loss, etc., where they infuse certain herbs in the water, keep it for a few hours or refrigerate it overnight. Until what extent this method holds its edge? Because this is greatly prevalent nowadays. However, Ayurveda we mostly go for Swarasa, Mantha, Fanta, etc. Probably because it is infused, it falls into the category of Fanta or Hima based on hot or cold water is used. But that as a fad going public again with all the drum rolls, we should be a little careful, sir.
See, you cannot avoid all these things. Even though in the name of Ayurveda, so many things are sold in the market, you need to go on curtailing those things repeatedly. Once certain issues are there, it is better to consult an Ayurvedic doctor and get the idea and the confirmation or endorsement from him to whether to use these practices or not, and whether it suits to them. So it will be better if they understand that not everything is just like no tailor ready made. It is a tailor made and customized for each and every individual, and for according to their body requirement and their prototype. So that needs to be kept in mind.
This Elon Musk is buying Twitter, and suddenly disinformation and other things, these anti Elon Musk people have woken up, and US government is forming a ministry of disinformation or truth finding ministry. A lot of efforts to find the real truth in social media, etc., is going on. With that, we will end this class. Thank you all the participants for your interesting questions. And on behalf of all of us students, thank you very much, Guraj sir, for elaborate answers and patient listening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. See you in the next class. Namaste.